Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, now here I am with another Halloween movie review. Now finishing off the original run of the Halloween films. Here I am with a review for Halloween Resurrection. So, yeah, ever since this film's release, everybody has just absolutely hated on this film, saying that it is like absolute shit and it is like just a horrible movie. And yeah, it is. I mean, honestly, this film was just absolutely. I don't even know what to say. Just this is just a completely horrible, useless film. I mean, seriously, this was seriously. What were they even wanting to do with this? I mean, I've just, I've already said like some of the other stories the in some other films are like just totally useless and meaningless, and this one, the story in this film, it is especially meaningless. I mean, seriously, what was even the point of this story at all? I mean, seriously. I mean, the film starts off. I mean, in like the first 15 minutes, we like do have some continuity from the previous film, but then like Michael Myers just ends up killing Laurie Strode in like the first 15 minutes of the film, and yeah, that's it. And then after that, then we just get a completely new story, which is just like part of this film alone, and no continuation with any of the previous films at all. Yeah, in this film, it's basically just like there are some kids that are like going on a they're like going on a internet reality show, and it like is involves them like spending a night in Michael Myers' old home, and so yeah, and they like just have cameras on themselves. So it's like they're all like equipped with some head cameras, and they just like um venture like through the house and stuff, and eventually like Michael Myers then like comes into the house and he just like kills them off one by one. So yeah, really, this movie seems like a mix of Halloween, Friday the 13th, and the Blair Witch Project. I mean, yeah, I mean with the kids with like the cameras on their heads and stuff similar to like in the Blair Witch Project, how those three students were like just filming, like making like a documentary film or something. Yeah, it seems like that's what is happening in this film as well. So yeah, it just seems like they're just like doing like cheap rip-offs of like the Blair Witch Project by doing that, and with Michael Myers like going after the kids in this film, it's just like Michael Myers is becoming Jason Voorhees and just killing teenagers. Yeah, so yeah, it really just seems like this is just like a cheap cash in on like all those the three of those films. So yeah, it just really doesn't even seem like they were even trying with this film. Yeah, and it just is like probably the most pointless and useless and meaningless story in the entire series. So yeah, the film just like really sucks and just it's a completely useless story altogether. Even more useless than the previous films, like the ones that I've already talked about with like 5 and 6 and the other and ones like that. Yeah, they just like really just yeah, this film is like the absolutely most meaningless story in the franchise. So yeah, is it as do I think it is as bad or worse than like the other horrible films that I've already talked about, like Halloween 5 and Curse of Michael Myers? Well, that's a little bit harder to decide because while this film is like absolutely horrible, I mean, there's still like I really don't know if like it has things that I absolutely hated about this as much as I did like the other films, like with Halloween 5 and Curse of Michael Myers. So yeah, I'm not really sure. It's a little harder for me to decide whether or not this film actually is worse than those two. But yeah, but yeah, it is still like a really, really bad film and a useless story. I mean, yeah, the consensus from Rotten Tomatoes really does like seem to put it best. The only thing this tired slasher flick may resurrect is nostalgia for when the genre was still fresh and scary. And yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, yeah, this film just, yeah, I think this film was just showing that the series was just like absolutely running its course by this point. Yeah, in fact, this film actually did come out in 2002. So yeah, I mean, almost like over, yeah, it was like what, 25 years or close to 25 years since the original film's release, and yeah, they were still releasing another film. And especially with what the story that this was doing, I mean, why did they even bother doing this? So yeah, this film really just like has a completely new cast that that are introduced in this film and really were not in any of the previous films. Like I said, Jamie Lee Curtis is back as Laurie Strode, but she's only in like the first 15 minutes of the film or so, and she gets killed by Michael Myers. So yeah, this film has a cast like Busta Rhymes, Bianca Kajich, is that how it's said? Kajich? Yeah, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Yeah, Thomas Ian Nichols, Ryan Merriman, um, Sean Patrick Thomas, Luke Kirby, Tyra Banks, and yeah, people like that. So yeah, yeah, and yeah, most really these kids, a lot of the people in this film are just like college students. So yeah, it's really just like really young people in this film, and yeah, it has Busta Rhymes as the main character of this film. Well, the main protagonist of this film, I guess, Freddie Harris. Yeah, of course, like Michael Myers is the main character in this, but yeah, in this film, like it's just like Michael Myers. It's basically like a similar thing to Curse of Michael Myers, how it was like those relatives of Laurie living in his house, and he just like kills them. Yeah, it's basically like the same thing in this film, where like Michael Myers just like goes on and kills the all the students and everybody in his house. So yeah, really, I don't understand this. I mean, why does Michael Myers just want to kill anyone that really just steps foot into his old house? I mean, really, just when he killed Laurie Eve in the start of this film, I mean, it's just like, yeah, okay, he's finally did what he was was wanting to do ever since the original film. So, yeah, what reason is there for him to even continue going on this rampage of killing people? Because I mean, yeah, he just killed Laurie and anybody that got in his way. I mean, he was after Ray, he was after Jamie, and he killed her finally, and yeah, and then now finally he just killed Laurie. So yeah, he finally accomplished what he his goal in mind. So yeah, after that, I mean, why would he even continue? So yeah, it just really doesn't. Yeah. So yeah, so that pretty much just makes like nothing else in this film. Like him going after all these kids and stuff, it just really doesn't make sense for him to go any further after finally accomplishing his killing of Laurie. So yeah, that just is another thing. Just it makes no sense for Michael to even continue to do, like kill people like this. So yeah, it's a really just a really meaningless story, and it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it just is like yeah, it just is a complete fail of a film, just with a story that makes no sense and absolutely meaningless, and just oh yeah, it's just a really, really, really bad film, and just not a good way for the original run of the films to really end. So yeah, I would give this film probably I don't know 1.25 stars out of 4. I mean, so yeah, I guess like it's not as bad as like 5 in Curse of Michael Myers, but still really, really bad. All right, so yeah, I could have like riffed on about this. Yeah, I could probably go on for hours just complaining about this film. So yeah, let me just talk about the story for the film. All right, so the film begins. It's about 3 years after the events of H2O, and it's shown that Laurie is now like in a psychiatric facility because yeah, it turned out that when she ended up like killing Michael at the end of H2O, like it turned out that that wasn't really Michael Myers, and it was just a like a innocent man, and yeah, it was just like shown through a flashback that there was a paramedic that discovered Michael's body in the dining hall of the academy in the previous film, and then Michael ended up attacking the paramedic and crushed his larynx, and so then yeah, Michael then like put on the paramedic's clothes and then just like was able to escape from the school grounds and go into hiding. So yeah, and then it showed like on Halloween in 2001, like they were showing that Laurie appeared to just be heavily medicated, and she was just like unresponsive to any of the doctors. But then it was shown that she was just like pretending to that, and then she was just like awaiting the her confrontation with Michael again, and then eventually Michael then was able to like get into the facility, and then he ended up like killing a couple of security guards. He decapitated one, and then he slit the other one's throat, and then he eventually went after Laurie. And then yeah, then it showed that Laurie was just like luring Michael onto the rooftop of the building, and then yeah, he eventually ended up like falling into Laurie's trap, and she like had him hanging upside down by his ankle, and then yeah, Michael eventually ended up like dropping the knife, and then Laurie ended up grabbing the knife, and then she was gonna finally kill Michael, but then like after then she was like just having some flashbacks of like what happened with her killing the wrong person, and then yeah, she just like like resisted to kill Michael because she just didn't want to kill like another innocent person, and so then like she stopped and just like was trying to remove Michael's mask to know for sure if it was really him, but then yeah, Michael eventually then like overpowered Laurie, and then he eventually ended up like stabbing Laurie in her back, and then right before Laurie ended up like falling to her death, she just ended up kissing Michael and just told him that she would see him in hell, and then Laurie then just like fell down to her death. So yeah, Laurie ended up getting killed in like the first 15 minutes of the film. So yeah, not really. I don't think that was really a good idea. I think they should have like really like kept Laurie in a bigger part in this film, and like maybe she could have actually like helped the kids in this film, like try to protect them from Michael, and then like when she finally does get into the competition with Michael at that point in the film, like probably like probably in the second half of the film sometime, then Michael could have killed her. I think that would have been better than actually killing her off this early in the movie. Yeah. But then yeah, then it cut to like a year later, and it showed that there were just like several college students, like kids like Bill Woodlake, Donna Chang, Danzing, Jim Morgan, Rudy Grimes, and Sarah Moyer. And apparently, they all ended up like winning a competition and to appear on like this internet reality show, Dangertainment, which is directed by Freddie Harris as well as Nora Winston. And then, yeah, this show like Freddie Harris was played by Busta Rhymes, and Nora Winston is played by Tyra Banks. Yeah. And yeah, like I said earlier, it involved spending a night in Michael Myers' old home to figure out really what did lead to his rampage and go on a killing spree. Yeah. And then yeah, then they ended up like once they arrived at Michael's home, they then were like equipped with head cameras, and there were also like other video cameras throughout the house. And as the kids were searching the house, it showed that there was like a Sarah's messaging friend Deckard was watching the broadcast like through a Halloween party that was going on. Yeah, yeah. And eventually, then like at one point, Michael Myers then ended up appearing, and then he ended up stabbing Bill and also killed Charlie, the cameraman. Yeah, and they were showing like throughout this film as like Deckard and like the people that were attending his party were watching the broadcast. They just thought that all the kills were like part of the broadcast and they weren't real. Yeah. And at one point, as Donna and Jim were like in the basement, and there was like a wall ended up falling on them with like fake corpses, and then it was just shown that like the entire show is just a setup, and then and eventually, like, after Jim ended up leaving, Donna then, like, just saw, like, a tunnel that was, like, behind the wall, and then he was just, like, going through the wall, but then, the tunnels, but then, yeah, Michael ended up appearing and was just, like, chasing, Donna through the tunnels, and then he eventually, like, ended up impaling her through a spike that was on the wall. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, like I said, like everyone, like all the party goers at Deckard's party, like just thought that they were all just part of an act. But yeah, Deckard then like he realized that the murders were real. You know, and he was trying to contact the police about it. And then yeah, it was shown that Freddy Eddie was just like roaming around the house like just as Michael Myers. And then there was one point where the real Michael Myers was like right behind Freddy, and yeah, he was just like talking to Michael, like he was just thought that Michael was Charlie, and was just like telling him what to do, and just he sent him down to the garage to help Nora, and then yeah, then once Michael ended up going to the garage with Nora, he ended up killing her as well. Yeah, yeah. And eventually, Rudy, Sarah, and Jim then ended up like seeing Freddy in the Michael Myers costume, and then he was just telling them about his scheme, and just was like begging with them to cooperate, and he just said that he had a setup. He like set up a nice payday for all of them, but then once he ended up leaving, then they like gathered up everybody else and ended up leaving. Well, at least they were trying to leave, but then before they were actually did leave, like Jen then ended up like seeing Bill's body, and then okay, Michael Myers then like appeared, and then he ended up decapitating Jen right in front of Rudy, Sarah, and Jim. And yeah, that was kind of silly too. I mean, just like with Michael Myers' kitchen knife, he was able to decapitate a person. I mean, it's not quite like Jason's machete. So yeah, I felt that that was just kind of silly. I mean, decapitating someone with just a kitchen knife. Uh, no, I really don't think that's believable. Yeah, yeah, and eventually then like Rudy and Sarah then ended up like running off, but then Jim tried to fend off Michael Myers himself, but then yeah, Michael Myers then just like picked up Jim in by his head and just like ended up just squeezing Jim's head and just crushing it pretty much, yeah. And then like then Michael then was like targeting Sarah, but then like as Rudy was trying to like fend Michael off, then eventually Michael just ended up just pinning Rudy to the door with like a few kitchen knives. Yeah. And once Sarah was then like just begging Deckard for help, the party goers then realized that this is not an act and this is really happening. And Deckard then was just messaging Sarah with or trying to help her get away from Michael Myers, telling her his locations and everything. And eventually Sarah was able to escape Michael Myers, but then Freddy ended up coming across Sarah, finding her, and Michael then went after both of them. Freddy eventually ended up like getting injured by Michael after trying to fight Michael with some kung fu or something. Yeah, and then Sarah then just like was trying to run from Michael through the tunnels, and once she got once she like found an exit that was like right near Donna's body, Michael eventually ended up finding her in the garage, and then eventually an electrical fire ended up like starting, but then Freddy ended up coming back and just fought Michael well, hand to hand, and eventually Freddy then just ended up electrocuting Michael and just like tied him in electric wiring, and then just carried Sarah out of the burning garage. And yeah, Michael Myers just like caught fire. And before Freddy walked out, he just told Michael, "Happy fucking Halloween," and then they left, and it just showed Michael's burning body, and the entire house just ended up like burning down to the ground. And then yeah, Sarah then just ended up thanking Deckard for saving her life. Yeah. And then yeah, then the movie then just ended with the victims' bodies as well as Michael are taken to the morgue, and then it showed them like the medical examiner was like starting to inspect Michael, like she unzipped the body bag he was in, and right when she was about to like pull off his mask, Michael then just like opened his eyes again, and then there was like this screeching noise that happened when like his eyes opened, and then yeah, the movie then just cut to credits. So yeah, this is the way that the original Halloween series, and these came to an end. Which so yeah, kind of like a really big letdown here. Like I said, 1.25 stars out of 4. I mean, yeah, this is just a really dumb film. The story doesn't make sense. It's an absolutely meaningless story. Lori got killed way too early, and yeah, it just is. Yeah, there's just so much wrong with this film. And yeah, and at the time, like, this wasn't actually intended to really be the last film of the original Halloween series. Like, there were actually more sequels planned after this film, but yeah, I guess like none of them went into development because I guess like they just didn't know like what to do after this. And I can't really say I'm surprised because I mean, with everything, Lori dying and just how useless and meaningless the story was. I mean, where could they even go from here? So yeah, nothing ended up following up on this film with the original run of the films. Yeah, after this, then yeah, Rob Zombie then came along and then ended up rebooting the franchise. He's then really giving really his own take on the Halloween story. And how did that turn out? Well, yeah, tune in next time when I'm for my review of that movie, and then after that with the sequel to that film to find out how what I think about those films. So yeah, that's coming up next time. But as far as this film goes, yeah, really a pretty disappointing way for the original films to go out. So yeah, it's really not worth a watch. I mean, so yeah, if you're really curious to really check out any films of the original Halloween film series, I would probably say just like watch the first two films. I guess the fourth film is worth a watch, I guess, and then H2O. But yeah, I really can't recommend watching Five, Curse of Michael Myers, or this film. So yeah, I really wouldn't really recommend watching this film. It's really not worth a watch, I don't think. It is just an absolutely pointless film to have around, really. Alright, so yeah, I guess that's all I can really say about it. So yeah, this does it for my review of Halloween Resurrection. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And so yeah, and like I said, stay tuned because now next time I'm going to be getting into the two Rob Zombie reboot films. So yeah, stay tuned to hear my thoughts on those two films. All right, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.